Yahya, the first person to be named Yahya in history, was the Prophet Yahya alayhi salam. And that's why you find that even amongst the disciples of Jesus, they saw this name as so blessed that one of them took the name John from him. As you know, Jesus had 12 disciples. According to Christian thought, one of them was John. This same John is the one sometimes people mistake in the Surah Yasin. وَإِذْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهِمْ اثْنَيْنِ فَكَذَّبُوهُمَا فَعَزَّزْنَا بِثَالِثٍ. In Surah Yasin, the Prophet Jesus sent 2 disciples towards the land of Antioch. In the Arabic language, it's called Antakya. Where is it? It's on the borders of Turkey. He sent 2 disciples. One of them was John, the other one was Jonah. This John wasn't John the Baptist. This John was whom? Was John from the disciples of Jesus, whose name was after John the Baptist. They of course went towards the land of Antioch. When they came towards this land, they met a shepherd on their way. He said to them, who are you? They said, we are the disciples of Jesus, John and Jonah. He said to them, what are you doing here? They said, we've come to bring people towards the message of Jesus, son of Mary. The reply was, and what do you have that you can prove you are his disciples? The reply was what? That we can cure the leper, the blind, raise the dead, make them alive. He said, I have a son who is ill. If you cure him, we'll believe in you. They suddenly listened to him, and they went ahead and cured the son. All of a sudden, many people of the town started believing in them. The town was originally full of whom? Full of idol worshippers. They used to worship angels. A wooden statue which looked like an angel. They managed to change much of the town except the king. The king ordered for them to be arrested. When they were arrested, that's why Surah Yasin says, وَإِذْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهِمْ اثْنَيْنِ. We sent to them 2. فَكَذَّبُوهُمَا. They belied them. فَعَزَّزْنَا بِثَالِثٍ. Then we said the third. Who was the third disciple? Simon. Simon went towards the king. Prophet Jesus said to him, don't reveal you're one of my disciples. Work for him, but in taqiyya. When you work for him, slowly get to the point of why are these 2 in prison? He asked the king one day, he said to him, O king, these 2, why have you put them in prison? He said, they say they can cure the leper and the blind, and they can raise the dead and make them alive. So he said to him, king, can your idols do that? So he said to him, you must be joking. These idols can't even talk. You think I really worship them? So he said, why do you make the people worship? Because that's the way we subjugate the people. That's why whenever you see a religion of idol worshippers, no, it's a religion which originally began with political subjugation of the masses. The intelligence of the human being should never worship that which it can break or it can create. And so what happened was he said, well, give them a try, see if they can cure. They managed to cure in front of the king, but they only had a few supporters. As you know, the verse says, وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ يَسْعَى. Aqsa al-Madinati, the furthest part of the city, Habib al-Najjar came to support them until he was martyred. John, Jonah, and Simon. John took the name from whom? From Prophet Yahya alayhi salam. And that's why the Quran says that Prophet Yahya was such an example that Allah says, Ya Yahya khudh al-kitab biquwwa wa ataynahu al-hukma sabiyya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we have given Yahya wisdom while at a young age. This verse is fundamental for all of us. Why? Because it highlights that Allah may give you wisdom at a young age or at an old age. But that in Islam, wisdom has no age limit. You cannot say a person becomes wise at the age of 31 or at the age of 40. Because Allah here shows Yahya ataynahu al-hukma sabiyya. You know what sabi means in the Arabic language? A person who hasn't even reached his teenage years. You can't even call him a teenager. He's still delicately someone maybe 9, 10, 11 years old. In that age, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this Prophet Yahya, we have given him wisdom while he is still not even reached the teenage years. That's why Prophet Zakaria himself testifies that Prophet Yahya, John the Baptist, at such a young age had an impeccable wisdom. Prophet Zakaria says, one day, I went looking for him. He hadn't come home for a couple of days. He said, I went around, I couldn't find him. He said, the next day I looked around, again I couldn't find him. He said, until the 3rd day I found him in the graveyard crying. Someone who's 10 years old, sitting in the graveyard by himself crying. He said, I looked at him and I said to him, why is it that you cry? What's wrong? He said, my father, how can I not cry? He said to him, what do you mean? He said, my father, you are the one who says that between heaven and hell, there is only a handspan between the two. He said, yes. He said, and my father, it's better that we cry now than we cry on the day of judgment. Out of love and out of fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Notice these words. As in, when Allah wants to embed you with wisdom at a young age, do not doubt it. If Allah wants, He'll make you think like that. They used to even say that in his age group, everybody would be playing, wasting their time, merrymaking. Whereas you'd find that himself, he'd be busy praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He'd be busy serving others. They used to say that some of the people used to torture the animals. He would be of those who would be delicate with the animals. He'd be of those who would not want to constantly have a full stomach, but rather one of those who says, what will Allah ask me about this full stomach that I have on the day of judgment? While there are poor people around the world. Therefore you found that he was used as a proof even by our 9th Imam. When they said, how does the 9th Imam of Al Muhammad have so much knowledge at the age of 9? The reply was this verse. وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ صَبِيًّا. If Allah can give Yahya that much knowledge, He can't give the grandson of Rasulullah that much knowledge. Therefore you found that he had that stand. His main aspect in his life was when he rose against the king of his time. And through this story, he was executed in the same way as Aba Abdullah. What happened? There are different narrations about the way he was executed. The first narration comes forward and says that the king of the time was King Herod. King Herod used to have an adulteress, a mistress you could call her, who used to always frequent his palace. This mistress had now become of old age, and she didn't want to lose the lineage of being close to the royal family. So what she did, she had a daughter. She used to bring this daughter towards the king. The daughter was seen as one of the most beautiful girls in Arabia, or in the area. And so what happened was that when she'd bring her, he'd pay no attention, until one day she brought her in her finest. She came in. When she came in, he saw her. When he saw her, he said, who's that beautiful girl? He said, that's my daughter. He said, your daughter? He said, yes. The reply was, well, I'd want your daughter, but I feel it might go against the law of the Torah. She said to him, what do you mean law? Leave these laws. You can have my daughter if you want her. He said, no. I will ask John the Baptist. See what his opinion is on the issue. When he went to ask John the Baptist, Prophet Yahya made it clear to him that in Sharia such a marriage is not allowed. There's a second narration which says it was King Herod's brother's daughter. Hence it would be his niece, who was in her finest. The brother wanted him to marry his daughter to keep the lineage. Again, Prophet Yahya said, it's your niece, and therefore it goes against law because it's an incestuous relationship. An incestuous relationship has no place within the law. He replied with that statement towards either his brother or towards the mistress. The reply they gave was a negative one. They said, so you listen to Yahya ahead of us? He said, yes, John the Baptist is the holiest personality in this area. Even though he was only in his 30s, he was very young, but he was the holiest personality. She one day made sure that her daughter came in while he was in a state of slight intoxication. Another narration says, no, she just brought her in, but she was wearing relatively little. When she brought her in, the king wanted her. As soon as the king went towards her, the mother walked in. When the mother walked in, she said to him, what are you doing? The reply that came was, well, I'm taking the girl. She said to him, you will not have this girl until you behead John the Baptist for me. He said, what? He said, behead John the Baptist. He said, you want me to behead John the Baptist, the head of the hierarchy of the religion? He said, yes. She said to him, you want this girl? You have to bring me John the Baptist's head. He went and asked a few of his advisors, what do you think would happen if I got John the Baptist's head